So lately I've been thinking about making a video like this for quite a long time, and the reason why I haven't told this story is because it's pretty emotional if you ask me. So today's story is going to be how my life was growing up. So let's get right on to it. It started back in kindergarten when I was dealing with bullying for the first time. It was hard for me to make friends back then. What I was dealing with back then was people pushing me down, hitting me, talking about me, laughing at me. I didn't know what to do about that situation. So when I left kindergarten, my father and my mother taught me how to be tough and always tell the teacher. My father was the one who told me that if someone hits me, hit them back. And my mother told me if someone was messing with me, I always tell the teacher. Through my elementary school years, I have been dealing with bullies, but I did exactly what they told me to. If someone would hit me back, I hit them back, and if someone was bullying me, I always tell the teacher. In my middle school years, I wasn't dealing with bullying at all because I discovered how to make friends. And how I made friends back then in my middle school year, I was being myself. Like I said in one of my videos, I'm not going to change who I am for anybody to make friends. Nobody at all. I'm always going to be myself. In 2010 was the year I actually lost my mother. And ever since then, I've been like really depressed about losing her. She taught me a lot growing up, and so did my father, but still. And the bond me and her had was just unbreakable. And the thought of me losing her was really devastating for me. Growing up now, I didn't like talking about it. I was afraid I would end up breaking down in tears. So going through my freshman year and my sophomore year, I went through that with no problem. I've always made friends. But in my junior year, I was dealing with bullying again. It started when I caught something that was going around school, and because of that, I actually missed a week at school one time. And coming back to school again another week, word went around that I caught scabies, and because of that, nobody didn't want to be around me. Nobody didn't even want to be near me. So what I was dealing with back then was just people backing away from me every time they see me walk in the hallway, and people talking about me. And during that situation, I crossed the line when one time we were leaving school. Everybody was getting on the bus. I actually sat beside someone. That person actually got up and moved to another seat. The bus was like really crowded back then, so one more student got on the bus. Somebody told her to sit beside me, and everybody burst out laughing. That girl said she didn't want to sit beside my scabies-infested self. So during that situation, I was actually thinking about leaving school before I graduated, but you know what, it's not going to happen. Going through that experience made me find out who my real friends are, because real friends, they don't do that to you. They always stick by your side no matter what happens. People who I actually thought were my friends were doing that to me too. I was pretty much dealing with betrayal during that situation too. Also in 2014 was also the year when I lost my grandmother, and I don't know if I'll ever forget this one, because y'all remember that story when I was telling the story about the time I actually died from an asthma attack. I was actually in the hospital for a month, and when I left the hospital, first thing I did was go see my grandmother, who was also in the hospital, because when I was in the hospital, my grandma got sick and she ended up getting sent in the hospital. So one time I was in school and I was being called to the office, right? My dad was picking me up from the hospital. My dad told me that she wasn't feeling well. She was actually in the hospital in Richmond. So we drove to Richmond, right? Almost all of my family members were there. I was told that she was being put on life support, and when I got a chance to see her, she had a tube down her throat. She had stickers all on her body. She looked really sick. Seeing her was just unbearable. Leaving the hospital was pretty hard. So when we left there, they took her off life support, and she didn't last until 1 in the morning. And when I heard that she passed away, I stayed strong. I tried so hard not to cry, but the only person I have in my life right now is my father. Because if I lost him, I don't know what I'd do, because I pretty much lived with my mother, my grandmother, and my father like all my life. And I lost my mother first and then my grandmother, and the only person that stayed in my life was my father. And if I lost him, I don't know what I do, because I'm not ready to be on my own, like, you know. And let me stop the story before I end up crying on here, because wow, telling that story was pretty emotional for me, like, you know. So yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. So if you guys enjoyed this story, please make sure you like and comment what you think. And if you're new to the channel and watching this and didn't subscribe yet, please make sure you do. You will not be disappointed. I'm Jack Swagger the Gamer, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.